Oh, good evening, Robin. Another old friend. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what office you're running for?
I'm Robin Davis. I'm currently the Merrimack County attorney.
Let me ask you a different question. Legalization of marijuana.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that as the chief law enforcement officer for the Merrimack County?
Legalization of marijuana is not something that I would personally do. That would be a legislative move. However, I think over time and with the opioid epidemic, what we've seen is that our struggles here in New Hampshire have to do with things like opioids, methamphetamine, things of that nature. I also think what we've seen is the legalization of marijuana in many of the neighboring states. So I think at this point, I think New Hampshire is at a point where it should consider the legalization of marijuana, obviously under regulation and with an age requirement, much like alcohol. But I think the horse has left the barn as far as the legalization of marijuana, and I think it's something that New Hampshire needs to consider very seriously. Until it's legalized, obviously, as the county attorney, we will prosecute those cases. Generally, what I can tell you is marijuana cases generally go to alternative sentencing, where there's more of a rehabilitative portion to it than a criminal portion to it. It's already been decriminalized, with the exception of large amounts. So I think at this point, it is sort of low on the scale of drugs and when it comes to criminalization. So that's my standpoint on that.
Let's deal with something that you probably do deal with as a prosecutor, the access to health care, mental health care, and treatment for drug addiction. Because I would assume that as our chief prosecutor, you deal with a number of defendants who probably have mental health or drug issues that end up in the court system versus the healthcare system.
Yes.
So what would you like to promote if you had the magic wand on access to mental health and drug insurance, treatment, medical personnel, so that you have less to deal with in the court system?
Sure. So I've been a prosecutor and a public defender throughout my career. And what I can tell you is in dealing with either with prosecuting criminal behavior or representing folks that are in the criminal justice system is that the root of criminal behavior generally is either substance abuse or mental health issues that go unaddressed. So I'm very interested in folks in the community having access to medical care and mental health care, because I think if we can prevent some of those issues and treat some of those issues before they get into the criminal system, that we will greatly reduce the number of defendants that we have in the criminal system. So I would suggest that New Hampshire think about voting for folks who are for healthcare for all, because if you have an injury and you're able to get medical treatment for it or prescription drugs for it, you are less likely to self-medicate either with alcohol, street drugs, other people's drugs, things of that nature. If you have a mental health issue, whether it's anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, things of those nature, then either you can identify that, or if you have a healthcare provider, they can help you identify that. And if you can get medications or counseling or other services like that, you're more likely to stabilize yourself prior to having some sort of criminal behavior. And that will keep you out of that particular system, keep you from engaging in criminal behavior, keep you out of the house of corrections, where it costs a great deal of money to house people. It costs the citizens about $200 a day to incarcerate someone at the house of corrections. And it will also save you on the other end, because when people are not incarcerated, they are at their job, they're paying their rent, they're taking care of their children. And so on the other end, I think all community members benefit from the fact that people are not engaging in criminal behavior. So it's really a win-win.
Thank you. Any last comments you'd like to give to the voters of the greater Franklin area?
I would just like to say that in the 2 years that I've been here as the county attorney, my philosophy has really been to hold people accountable for their criminal behavior, but also give them an opportunity to move forward. I think most of us know that when someone comes into the criminal justice system, at some point they're going to come back into your community. And so I think when someone's in the criminal justice system, they have to be held accountable for their actions, and we can do that in a number of ways. There's incarceration, but Merrimack County is very fortunate to have a number of alternative sentencing programs, like the diversion program that Mr. Croft runs. We have a pretrial service program, which allows people who have just come into the criminal justice system and are on bail. They're able to be supervised and get into programming for drugs and alcohol and things of that nature. And so we can try and turn people around very early on. So if we can hold them accountable, but also give them the opportunity to address whatever issues got them there, then I think when we return them back to the community to be your neighbors, your employees, we push them forward. Therefore, we've made a much stronger and safer community on the other end. So if you agree with those positions, then I would ask for your vote on November 3rd.
Robin, thank you for your years of service to this.
Thank you.